Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alphanine. So we have a lot of good news. There was so much, in fact, I had to put out a video earlier today. So if you didn't catch that one, that was a good one. Holy smokes, there's a lot of good things happening with XRP. There's heavy implications for XLM also. We're going to cover that in this video. There's chapters. If you want to jump around, feel free to jump around, get to the spot you want to be, or the content that you want to watch. All right. Let's begin here. This is from U.Today. Large XRP holders accumulate so much XRP that they set a record. My goodness. People are not playing around. Listen, they understand what's coming. They've done the research. They understand there's nothing better for the banks right now when it comes to interbank payments than XRP. Then if you need something to link everything together besides the interoperability of the XRPL, sure, you got Quant right there. But we're talking wholesale CBDCs, that big money moving back and forth, on demand liquidity, which is patented. All right. You can look up the patent. I think I tried to leave the number in the comment section earlier. I was actually at the gym while I was trying to remember and reply to a few comments to the earlier video. So my apologies if my response to comments were a little bit brief, but I was on the bike machine going hard in the paint. But on demand liquidity is patented. You can look up the patent number. All right. When it comes to wholesale CBDC, you got XRP. And then a lot of people theorize, and I'm on this boat as well, that when it comes to retail, hey, XLM is right there. Algorand is right there. And that's going to lead me to an interesting thought once we get to another piece of XRP news later. But let's continue on with this article here. It says, according to crypto analytics portal Santiment, we're all familiar with that, the wallets of major XRP holders have significant additions by the end of the year. These are what are known as whales and sharks, investors whose positions in XRP range from 1 million to 10 million coins. XRP whale, here's the tweet, the actual tweet, hashtag XRP network whale and shark addresses that share 1 million to 10 million XRP tier have been rapidly accumulating. You don't say. You know why this is happening. We're close to the end of the case. If they flip that switch, if they start, listen, they don't even have to flip the switch. Put that to the side. When the case is over, if they start making major announcements, because now they don't have to hide some of those major partnerships, they won't be in jeopardy. Also, you'll have all that big institutional money on the side stepping forward because there's a lot of interest, but they just haven't got in yet. When that happens, you're going to have massive announcements. That alone, minus any flipping of the switch, that alone will cause the price to go up. It'll be the realization for a lot of people who are hesitant on XRP, who doubted it. It will be the confirmation, the realization to them that, whoa, this is real. This is real. Some people have already had that epiphany. Some have not. And it's not always seeing is believing. That's another thing. So you can show people documents. People have read documents. They still don't believe. They need to see that money going up. Money rings bells. It gets people in action. So if that case ends and is positive, and I think that it will be, we dominate the SEC. Whenever that happens, I expect a FOMO pop. I do. I'm holding way past that. I'm going to the end. Yeah, my price is pretty high for XRP. My expectations are very high for Quant as well, but I think Quant will be very easy. But this is why they're getting prepared. They know what's coming. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. They're not going to miss out. They're going to over prepare. I've been saying that, haven't I? Let's continue to read this. By December, both the number of addresses of this size and the percentage of XRP supply held on them had peaked, according to the data cited. Thus, the number of whale and shark addresses reached 1,617. Yeah, they're not playing around. They're very serious about this opportunity that's coming. And the combined percentage of XRP held on them represents 7.23%. It's not just whales. Everybody who knows a little bit about the truth of XRP has been accumulating. That's the truth across the board. They've been feeding as much as they can feed, accumulating as much as they can accumulate. And I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at them at all. I want that bank money too. Oh yeah. I'm accumulating too. I want that bank money also. And the banks are going to hand over that money. They don't have a choice at this point. They can't keep up. Technologically, on-demand liquidity is patented. We continue to advance. We're more secure than them. We're continuing to increase scalability, but with interbank payments, I think we're good to go. Security-wise, interoperability, access to corridors they don't have. They still can't access the corridors that we can access. Keep that in mind. So then how do they access that money? They've been telling you in the documents they want to access that unbanked money, but they can't because they don't have corridors. They don't have banks in some of those areas. And some of the people in those areas don't even like banks. They don't like banks. But we're there. We can access that value. They have to go through us to get a piece of it. If not, we can keep it all for ourselves and it still will make that XRP price pop. We just keep all that money to ourselves. Simple as that. And I can guarantee that that price would not stay where it is today. It's a beautiful position that we're in. So now, let's move on to this article here. When people are actually taking care of the people and reaching out to them, I appreciate that, like Algorand does. Helping so many people, like they're actually doing it. They're not just talking. They're helping people around the world. I respect it. I respect it. I'm on that same path. I like to help people if I can. Ripple's doing the same thing. They've done it multiple times. Here you have a tweet from Ripple right here. They retweeted this and it says, "We teamed up with Kaboom, the Boozary family, at Ripple, at OUSD News, and hardworking volunteers to construct a new kid-designed schoolyard, multi-sport court, murals, and garden space at Global Family Elementary." So they're helping the children again. I love this. I respect it. Respect goes a long way. A long way. So I appreciate Ripple, retweeting this, putting out the money to actually do this and walk it how they talk it. There's not a lot of entities that do that. So I really appreciated this. I just wanted to bring this to everybody's attention. And this is another reason why people should support Ripple, in my humble opinion. Especially in that court case, they're doing a lot of good. They do a lot more good than a lot of these other blockchain companies and blockchain heads that they do a lot of talking, a lot of arguing, a lot of fighting, but they don't do a lot of good. So now we have this tweet here. And it's from Ripple, and it says, "At Ubri Connect in London, Ripple's Anthony Welfare discussed central bank digital currencies with Professor R.K. Shaya Masundar and Professor Kenichi Uedi. Watch their conversation to better understand the benefits of CBDCs." Did you watch this conversation? Because they confirmed something for me. We heard it from, I postulated last year that stable coins could be used as light versions of CBDCs. Then you had the Bank of International Settlements come out and say the same thing, right? We read the document where they said that. Now we have Ripple confirming it. First of all, Ripple is dominating in every possible way. If you listen to this conversation, everything is set up, everything is moving well, everything is going very, very good. This was a very good conversation. I will say it was quite boring to listen to, but they covered everything about wholesale CBDCs, retail CBDCs, interbank payments. Everything is looking good. They discussed a little bit about, I believe it was the CBDC project that they're working on in Bhutan. Of course, they're not going to put out their major projects. One thing that they did say was that a lot of banks are waiting, not just on regulatory clarity, but they said a lot of banks are waiting for other banks to come out first in case there's a mistake made. So there is a mindset or energy going through the banks right now where they don't want to be the ones that make a mistake with all that money that's flowing through CBDC. Something happens to the CBDC, a hack or anything goes wrong. They don't want to be the ones to take the fall. So they're trying to allow other banks to go first. That's something to keep in mind. I think that's an important piece of information that they unveiled in here. Now, another piece of information going back to stablecoins, they literally said Stable coins are like CBDCs. Why is that important? That's important, in my opinion, because of Stellar. That leads me into the next article. Because of Stellar. You know what? We're going to just move right into the Stellar chapter because I have so many thoughts flowing through my mind right now. Stellar, they are one of the most secretive and sneaky companies, but in a good way. Because the big picture of what they're going after, if you put all the pieces of the puzzle together, I believe Stellar wants to be. I could be wrong, everyone. Listen, I could be wrong. I've said this before in the past, but now with all of this new information and seeing what they're doing, I'm going to make two theories here, two postulations. One, I believe Stellar wants to be. I'm not saying they're going to be. I believe they want to be the retail CBDC of the United States. That's number one. Number two, I think they want to be the retail bridge currency for the world. This is why you see the interactions that they're having, the positive interactions and support they're having from the World Economic Forum and the United Nations, two of the most massive and powerful groups ever. Why? They were chosen for United Nations aid. That's huge beyond measure. I think they're going after those two. A lot of people took umbrage with how much Stellar pushes USDC. But if USDC is like a stable coin, let's be realistic. Stable coins are pretty much CBDCs. They're pretty much CBDCs, light version of a CBDC. But if USDC is like a stable coin, and we did hear certain entities within the United States government, we covered that last year, if you remember, they said it themselves, that they looked at the possibilities of utilizing stable coins just outright. Just like they were saying even that they may not even need a CBDC because of stable coins. Of course, this was last year before all of this madness happened with stable coins. And now there's a little bit of a stain on stable coins name. But the fact that that idea was even out there in the government and they spoke on it is very important. If they were to do that, and USDC has been positioning itself as the dominant stable coin. They even took the Coinbase, who in Coinbase and Circle together started USDC. Of course, they're moving it heavily through Stellar right now and in conjunction with MoneyGram. I'm talking about globally, right? Globally. But at least that's the idea, okay? If I misspeak or something like that, you guys can correct me in the comment section. I'm giving you everything off the top of my head. But Coinbase even took shots recently at USDT, Tether. People have always predicted a collapse of Tether. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't have anything to do with that. But I've heard that. If Tether goes away, USDC is the dominant stablecoin. So if the United States indeed does regulate a stablecoin, and allow it to be used like a CBDC, imagine how much value and volume will be flowing through the Stellar blockchain. Imagine that for a moment. It would be mind-blowing. Then you have to pair that also with the happenings at the United Nations. That's just where they're beginning. Think about where it could go. So now let's go on to this article here. If you like this video at any point, please just click that little like button down there. I would greatly appreciate that. And thank you in advance. So then we have this tweet here. It's from Stellar and it's about Stellar Aid Assist. It says Stellar Aid Assist leverages the power of the Stellar network and the ecosystem built around it. But if you scroll down, you're going to see how they have these links here that really break down Stellar Aid. They're making a massive push. The push has begun. Now, I want to phrase this a certain way because I want to say that this is good advertisement. But I don't mean it as in how you have retail advertisement. No, This is to countries who might want to use this. They're letting them know, putting them on notice. Hey, listen, you need aid? We're here. We're working with the United Nations. Or you can use us outright, right? You don't even have to go through United Nations. You can use Stellar directly if you should choose, because some people may choose that and they have to allow them choice. This is a huge push. They're going to get a huge push. Well, they're pushing themselves hugely, right? But then you're also going to get a major push from the United Nations as well. And you're also going to get another push from the World Economic Forum. It's coming. This is good. That can bring a lot of volume, a lot of value. And of course, a lot of people will also be helped at the same time. I'm keeping my eye on this. A lot can come out of this. And understand also, I think there's a lot of potentiality here for Stellar to move a lot of that money. See, it's not, when people think aid, they think disasters, things like that. But I think there's a lot of potential for Stellar to position itself where whenever, let's say a central bank or something like that wants to send money here or there because they issue a lot of loans, I think Stellar could be utilized for something like that. The transference of money back and forth for countries to build infrastructure, not disaster related, or to have money to allocate. A lot of times SDRs are sent for allocation to certain things for the country to develop, or if they're lacking liquidity to help with that. I think Stellar could position themselves in that way. Will they do it? I don't know, but I just see certain similarities in moving money around in that particular way. I don't know how to properly put it just yet. I'm still developing the idea. But there's been a lot of that happening. The IMF has been sending certain monies to Latin America, Africa. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of strings attached. There's a lot of positioning with them sending that money because it's like a favor for a favor type of thing, right? But nonetheless, and removing that, it's still occurring, right? They could utilize Stellar to do that near instantly, instant liquidity. But of course, then there's the liquidity. Keep that liquidity issue in mind when you're thinking. Also, that's another thing where USDC moving across Stellar, of course, that's good volume, and it will be good value in the future, in my humble opinion, if it's being used consistently. We have to see. There's no guarantees, but we have to wait and see. But keep in mind, there could always be bank runs on USDC. Any stable coin, any currency can have bank runs. And if you have a bank run on those things, because we've seen a lot of stable coins become depegged, and heck, USDC hasn't always been $1. It has come off of that $1, that solid dollar, a few times. But if there's a bank run on all of these things, those companies are going to need liquidity. They would need to, look, XLM, they said on the Stellar website, XLM provides liquidity for otherwise illiquid assets. So at some point, if they want to ensure, and they have to come to this realization that stable coins are not stable. And even one-to-one pegged stable coins are only as stable as the fiat currencies they're pegged to. But no fiat currency will be, well, first of all, fiats are not stable right now. They move up and down in price. You know, people can lose money on fiat currencies. They lose money all the time. Some people make money on fiat currency. We trade currencies all the time. But so even in that way, they're not stable, but they can become highly destabilized. Heck, they can plunge significantly. In those moments, you're going to need liquidity. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're going to need liquidity. And I think that's a realization that will be uncovered at a time that it probably shouldn't be uncovered. I say that because a lot of people are under the belief that the dollar is just the dollar. Like, you know, everybody, unless they're in the money game, they don't see, you know, the yen, dollar, up and down, how the dollar goes up, all the other currencies get crushed. When other currencies go up, the dollar is down, that there's fluctuations in price. A lot of people don't know that. They don't understand that. And they don't understand that there's a shift in the world happening where the value of the dollar is going to be heavily impacted. And if it's impacted incorrectly, or not incorrectly, but if negatively, and the United States doesn't implement the new financial system, then the value of the dollar can be greatly diminished. You definitely would need a little liquidity. And then if XLM provides liquidity for otherwise illiquid assets, and USDC is the CBDC that's pegged to the dollar, and then you have USDC's value plummeting at any point, and I would think in conjunction with something like that, you're probably going to have bank runs, then you would need XLM's price to go up for it to provide that liquidity. Okay, so now let's move on to another chapter here. Appreciate everybody being here. Thank you so much. So then we have a tweet from Algorand, mighty Algorand. It says this was a retweet. It says, exclusive interview, Algorand interim CEO, Sean Ford, who has been doing a great job, by the way, says, quote, our time is now. I like that fire. I need companies to be hungry. I need companies to work hard. And Algorand works hard. They respect their people. They respect their holders. They respect their employees, and they work hard. There is no one right now, in my humble opinion, and all the bank coins are doing great. Don't get me, they're all doing great. But no one works harder than Algorand. And they keep their word every single time. But let's actually read just a little tidbit from this article here. I want to scroll down here. This is from cryptoslate.com. This is the interview with Sean Ford. We're going to read his quote. It says, quote, keeping our promises, he said, was one of the major ways that Web3 could regain credibility. He reinforced that Algorand, unlike many other projects, I agree, has always made this a priority. I agree. That's why they're on top right now. Let me tell you guys something. Long ago, when I first got into crypto, my brother told me, he said, listen, Mick, first crypto he ever told me about, because I was in the stock market. He was deep into crypto. He said, XRP. That's the first crypto ever that he told me to get, XRP. Then he said, Mick, if you can't get XRP, get XLM. Then after XRP and XLM, then he said Algorand. My brother's that's a brilliant individual right there. Holy smokes. But anyway, at that time, obviously somewhere in the future, I began to make videos. People hated Algorand. They said it was trash. They said it was horrible. And I said, hey, look, they're developing. Hey, look, they're putting together an insanely powerful team. Hey, look, they have all these projects. Hey, look, they're working with banks. Hey, look, they're used for traceability. And then boom, Algorand had those parabolic runs. Now, if you look at how powerful, big they've become, the advertising, the medical industry, traceability, working with the banks. Now, so many people love them. You see how it changes? You see how it changes? If you stay consistent, if you work hard, if you focus, they're focused. They're getting things done. They're bringing in partnerships. They don't even have to tell you. All the other news media is going to report on it. And that's what I love about Algorand. And that's one of the reasons that Algo is a solid hold. In my opinion, you don't have to buy Algo. I'm not saying this is not financial advice. Doesn't matter to me whether you buy Algo or sell it. Okay, I have to always say that. Doesn't matter to me. I'm here for the bank money, and they've been doing a great job in that regard. Let's continue to read here. It says, he reinforced that Algorand, unlike many other projects, has always made this a priority, working hard to deliver the tech without unnecessary effort, hype, and speculation. That's a fact. Since its launch in 2019, Algorand is all about, we're going to show you. They unveil something, it's a finished product. Look at what we did. Not look and hope for what we're going to do. No, we know what they're going to do. We know the potentiality. But they show you the finished result. Algorand has produced a scalable platform that provides security, fast finality, and zero downtime. Oh, I love that. I love that. This type of hungry attitude, that type of fire in your belly to get things done is why I expect And it's going to take time, but I expect massive announcements because I just don't see Algorand losing. They're going to continue to win. And they're beloved around the world. Silvio McCauley has made way for them. Stacey Wharton has made way for them. Sean Ford has made way for them. And a good name goes a long way. And they have a very good name. So now let's continue on here to some more articles. So let's cover a little bit of Bitcoin news. I don't always cover Bitcoin. I'm not a holder of Bitcoin, but I do understand the potentiality of Bitcoin. And so many people have been just kicking Bitcoin while it's down and just saying very nasty things about it. And this is just not true. Bitcoin has a lot of potential. I think it has a few explosions in it. I've been saying that since last year. It has a few in it because the catalysts are there. But let's take a look at this little article here. 50% of Bitcoin holders are at a loss. Why this number is positive for Bitcoin. So another thing, I'm not a tribalist. So although I do love the bank coins, I've definitely made profit with other coins that are not the bank coins. It's just this is my primary focus on the channel. And really, it's my primary focus overall. Bank coins are at the front, but I've made profit with other coins. I'm not a tribalist at all. If there's money to be made, I'm going to go there and make it. Right? Bitcoin is no different. I understand the catalyst. If I choose to get in, I can choose to get in at any time right before it pops off and get a little Bitcoin profit. I've done it with Chili's. I've done it with, who did we do that with? Shiba Inu. Make money at the top and make money at the bottom. If the opportunity is there, I'm going to seize it. I think that that's just logical here. But I am not a tribalist. Okay, so yeah. Some people don't want you to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to get to the article. Bear with me. Some people don't want you to talk about Bitcoin because they feel that you're some sort of maxi. I'm not a maxi. I'm not a maxi. I just do a lot of research on the bank coins because they're my primary holding. That's it. And then I share it with the people out here, you know, and I feel like the people appreciate it and I definitely appreciate them. So that's why I do it. But I'm not a maxi. All right. All right. It says here, Bitcoin is back to its crab-like price action as macroeconomic forces fight with new developments in the crypto industry. The number one crypto by market cap has seen one of its bloodiest years. Yes, but that's not going to last forever. As of this writing, Bitcoin trades at $16,800 with sideways movement in the last 24 hours. Okay, let's scroll down here. Bitcoin will see better days in 2023. I don't know if it's going to happen in 2023. But I know in the future, there are catalysts that, and listen, putting most major catalysts to the side. The big money loves Bitcoin. They got a taste of how easy it is to make money. And all the regular people got a taste of it as well. And Bitcoin is, they've been saying it's a commodity. So it's getting a light hand when it comes to what might be regulatory clarity at some point in the future. That's also very positive. Everybody has had a good taste of Bitcoin. And I think that at the right time, boom, Bitcoin will explode. Yeah, I see it happening. And like I said, that's minus major catalyst. But let's continue on here. It says, per a recent report from Coinbase, Bitcoin has been resilient in the current market turmoil. Despite the U.S. Federal Reserve hiking interest rates, a high inflation environment, and a collapse of major companies in the crypto ecosystem, holy smokes. There has been a lot of negatives going on, right? But we turn negative into a positive. That's nothing. We transmute it, mental transmutation. We're going to transmute that negative energy into positive energy. We're going to make it work for us. We're going to take those lemons, make some lemonade. That's an interesting, like, little phrase, isn't it? Because I like lemons, even if they're not in lemonade. But hey, I like limes also. Limes. No lemonade, cut them right in half, take a bite. Anybody else out there do that? I don't know. Let's keep it going. Bitcoin's capacity to withstand the collapse of these companies and entities, it can stand on its own. It doesn't require them. There's always going to be someone new. And the banks have been salivating to step in and take over crypto anyway. So then they have the ability to, in the future, issue digital wallets. Bitcoin isn't going anywhere. It's not for a long time. It's not. And I do think it's going to reach a very high price, but it's not going anywhere. No matter what happens to any of these companies. I see the bank coins, XRP, XLM, Algorand, Hbar, Cello, XDC, being similar to that, Quant, because they're not going anywhere. But they're not going anywhere because of utility. They're needed. So, you know, I think Bitcoin has a bright future. I do. Like I said, I'm not a holder of Bitcoin, but I see the catalyst there. The price is down right now. And I think at some point, if it goes a little bit lower, there will be a buying frenzy. It's only so low something's going to go before it just gets too irresistible. I've seen it before plenty of times in the stock market. Something's just too delicious and big companies and big money can't pass it up. They start to buy and people start to notice, hey, that price going up, and they start to FOMO in. And with Bitcoin, it will not take a lot for people to want to FOMO in. It's not. Once you get that taste of the money in your mouth, you want more. That's how I see it. All right. So I don't know if those are the most eloquent thoughts, but that's my honest thoughts. So then they have this article here about Hbar. And it says, here's how much your $100 investment in Hbar will be worth if Hbar hits $5. Hbar is another one we've been into for a long time. $100. People are deep in Hbar. Listen, I'm going to say it again. I've been putting a few posts in that members only section. You got to go to the channel to read them. You got to read them. The last one was about Hbar. Check it out. Check it out. $5. We'll see about that. Look at what they're doing. Read that post. If you're already a members in the members only section, read that post. Go over to the members only section on my channel. Check it out. You'll see what I'm talking about. Hbar has massive potential. Massive. That's all I'll say about that. Since Hbar is well, we know what Hbar is. Hbar's new developments. Hbar recently made headlines with its Reality Plus partnership to launch the metaverse game Own the Zone, which was officially licensed by FIFA World Cup Qatar. All these FIFA partnerships are going to be major in the future. First, the economies have to be a little bit better. People have to be willing to spend a little bit more money. But right now, people are worried about living. They're worried about living. Day-to-day things, bills. They don't have a lot of money to throw around for digital images. They just don't have that right now. And a lot of people are not willing to take that chance. So for anyone, and just my humble opinion, for anyone to see a pop in these prices from any of these offerings that are associated with sports, like Algorand, Hbar, Chili's, to see a major pop, you're going to have the economies do better. Simple as that. That's how I feel about that. But they will be major, or I won't say will, because that sounds like a guarantee, right? They can be major in the future. It says, driving high on the football fever this year, the metaverse game came with its own collection of NFTs and also real world prizes, which Hbar is one of the best when it comes to NFTs. I think the absolute best, in my humble opinion, is Algorand, but Hbar is right there. It says, additionally, Hbar's biggest milestone this year has been to breach 100 million TVL threshold. It has shown to increase by 171%, increase quarter on quarter. The primary factor fueling the rise in Hbar's TVL attributed to the launch of Saucer Swap, which is Hbar's first native decentralized crypto exchange. Oh, they have a lot going on at Hbar. Like I said, check out that members only post. Let's move on to a little bit of regular news. So we have an article here. It's on money.usnews.com and it's titled US dollar likely has further upside versus yen despite BOJ move. Let's read this little tidbit here. The Bank of Japan, which widened the trading ban for 10-year Japanese government bonds on Tuesday, may have inflicted damage on the dollar against the yen. But Goldman Sachs analysts said there was further room for the greenback to rise. On Tuesday, the dollar plunged as much as 4% against the yen. Its largest daily percentage fall since 1998. That's significant, folks. That's significant. The U.S. currency, however, rebounded on Wednesday and was last up 0.4% at 132.28 yen. In Wednesday's research note, Goldman said that the path for the yen depended on whether the BOJ move was a technical adjustment, as the central bank had pointed out, or the start of a tighter monetary policy regime. Everybody needs tighter monetary policy, but whether that's going to happen or not, we don't know. All of the central banks and all of the governments have been flip-floppy on monetary policy. They don't really, either it seems like they don't know what to do, or they're allowing the systems to sort of suffer a little bit I'm inclined to believe that they're allowing the systems to suffer a little bit so they can implement the new financial system. But when it comes to Japan, remember, keep in mind that they said that, the head of SBI Remit said that that individual believed that most of the banks in Japan would use XRP. That's what that individual said. Then we had an article that we covered about a month ago, where one of the banking heads was saying that Japan doesn't need a CBDC. The only reason they wouldn't need a CBDC to interact and interface with all the other value in the world that are going to be run across CBDCs is if they're going to use something else for their CBDC, as opposed to having a specific one, which would make sense, one specifically made for them, which would make sense if they're actually going to use XRP. But we will see. Always keep in mind that XLM, Stellar, is in play in Japan. The founder, one of the founders of Lightnet, which is built on Stellar, and everything on Stellar uses XLM for friction, for transaction fees, and for liquidity for otherwise illiquid assets. A few more things, but I can't remember everything right now. But that co-founder owns 7,000 7-Elevens. This is what they reported in the news article, okay? You can look it up. Everything I say, look it up, question it, look it up, see for yourself. 7,000 7-Elevens in Japan. So Stellar is in play in Japan. Whether or not they actually get utilized, that's something different. We have to wait and see. All right. So I always keep that in mind when I'm reading about Japan. Goldman assumed that for now, the BOJ move was a technical adjustment and a sign that policy rates could be adjusted further in the coming month. So, we'll just keep an eye on what's going on. As of right now, though, I think everything's still looking good. I think everything will right itself. But we'll see in a few months, the dollar. Keep an eye on the dollar. So now we have this article here from NASDAQ.com, and it's titled Canada to hold 13 bond auctions in coming quarter. In the first quarter of 2023, a scheduled release by the Bank of Canada showed on Wednesday. The schedule includes 4 2-year bond auctions, 2 3-year auctions, 2 5-year auctions, 3 10-year auctions, and 2 30-year auctions. No real return bond auctions were scheduled after the government said in November that it decided to cease issuance of those bonds. Right, so this makes sense in my humble opinion. Right? I expect to see possibly other governments do similar. But we'll see. I could be wrong on that. We have an article here from Trading Economics, and it is titled Wall Street Rallies Amid Upbeat Earnings. Of course, this is just typical, you know that's going to happen. Major U.S. stock indices closed sharply higher on Wednesday as strong corporate results and consumer confidence ramped up hopes that the U.S. economy is more resilient to tighter monetary policy than previously expected. It's not so tight. It could have been much tighter. I think it should have been. But I suppose technically you could say it's tighter than what it was. It was super loose before. So I guess technically it's a little bit tighter. The Dow Jones added 520 points and the S&P 500 jumped 1.5%. The NASDAQ also rose by 1.5% and rebounded from the last session's underperformance as Treasury yields stabilized from yesterday's sell-off and supported gains for the tech sector. Nike shares soared 13%. My goodness, 13% after the sporting goods company posted its best quarterly review growth in more than a decade. This is a great article here. Make sure you're checking out tradingeconomics.com. They do a great job over there. We've been utilizing them for a long time. Make sure you give them some traffic over there. Support these individuals who are doing a great job putting out good information, okay? So now let's go here with a little bit of natural gas news. This is also from Trading Economics, all right? And it goes as such. U.S. natural gas futures were at 5.3/MMBTUs on Wednesday, hovering at the lowest level in 8 months and holding the 25% plummet from 3 prior sessions as investors continue to monitor U.S. weather. Everybody's been looking and trying. Look, you're trying to predict what's going to happen. Everybody's been looking at almanacs, The weather, when they have the weather apps, and it tries to tell you a little bit, sort of like an almanac, what's coming based on what has already been. Everybody's looking at that. Here's the problem. The problem is all the meteorologists have been wrong. Oh, so many people mad at the meteorologists. Oh, but listen, meteorologists, they're trying to do their job, but it's not perfect. And there's a lot of different things in nature right now that have been a little bit awry. Let's just say it's been a little bit different. So it may be harder to make an accurate prediction on what's going to occur. And obviously, if it's colder, people are going to use a little bit more gas, possibly, right? If it's warmer, like these things affect this type of stuff. And obviously, that's going to affect your prediction, right? Cold temperature forecast for the start of winter stand milder than previously expected. See what I'm saying? Limiting rebounds in prices. Of course, people have to protect their value. You got to protect their value. Okay, so I'm going to leave that at that. If you want to read more about that, make sure you check out Trading Economics. There's a lot more to this article. They're doing a great job. Let's end off here with a little bit of gold news. Because gold makes me happy. I just like to say that now. I do, man. I don't know. When I say those words, it's like a mantra and I just feel better, So this is from NASDAQ.com. It says flow of gold from west to east slowed in November. Actually, it's an article that the NASDAQ is posting from Reuters. Flow of gold from west to east slowed in November. Let's read this little tidbit here. It says the pace of Swiss gold shipments to Asia and the Middle East slackened in November as prices rose, with exports to countries including China and Turkey falling from October's level. Swiss customs data showed on Tuesday. Huge amounts of gold have flowed eastward from Europe and North America this year as rising interest rates triggered selling by financial investors, pushing down prices. The lower cost of gold boosted demand in Asia markets, more focused on retail jewelry and small gold bars, while in Turkey, economic turbulence encouraged buying of the metal, which many see as a safe means of storing wealth. Listen, that price of gold, in my humble opinion, is going up. All the central banks are buying record amounts of gold. We cover this extensively on the channel. There's going to be possibly, maybe I shouldn't say going to be, there's the possibility of the destabilization of many fiat currencies around the world within the next 3 to 5 years. That could also cause people to flee into the greatest store of value of all time, gold. That would push the price up. We'll see what happens, we'll see what happens. Gold prices, XAU equals, fell from more than $2,000 an ounce in March, below $1,650 in September and October, but rose sharply in November. We all know that, as markets began to anticipate the end of interest rate rises. Gold cost around $1,800 an ounce on Tuesday. Switzerland is the world's biggest refining and transit hub for bullion. So we're going to leave that there. This is from NASDAQ.com if you want to read a little bit more. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.